saw the news, did you expect it, Alan? Are you surprised? And what do you think his first order of business is?
I expected it. And I think the first order of business is figuring out what pieces you're going to even think about moving, right? And what pieces are, all right, we know we're rocking with this. It feels like Draymond's going to opt in. I think that's
right.
The consensus. So assuming Draymond opts in, you got Clay, you got Steph, you got Draymond. You know you have that. You have Wiggins. Then the question becomes, all right, this Jordan Poole situation. You spoke about it, Bonte. The Jordan Poole situation. Can you figure this out with Draymond? So Draymond, and this was a while ago when he went on Stephen A's World, and he's talking about how if the punch didn't happen, they would still be playing.
Right.
My question is, and I don't know if this is a GM thing or a coach's thing. I don't know who it is, but have they sat down, no cameras, and Draymond said, regardless of whatever the reason was, look, man, it was my bad. I should have did it. I know we had a relationship. I want to get back to that. Has that happened?
Don't know.
And I don't know that's Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s job, but it kind of is to get the most out of your players.
Well, Bob Myers was the guy who would calm Draymond down, right? Remember the Pelicans game late in the season? I can't unsee it with him coming down from his seats.
He flew
to tell
down
Draymond, hey, you're a leader. Go in there and lead. Get back in that huddle. Not an assistant coach, not Steve Kerr, not any player. It had to be Bob Myers. Now that's gone. Does Dunleavy, can he build that rapport with Draymond Green? And by the way, with the draft coming up, this Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation has to be figured out.
Right.
We've got to, it's time to move the page. And I was thinking about this last night because obviously it's there. When the players and the coach, with Steve Kerr and Draymond Green basically say, yeah, that affected the season. And okay, great. Now the season's over. You lost in the second round to the LA Lakers. And really, it's remarkable they even got to a Game 6 against the LA Lakers in the second round, despite all the cohesion not being there with this team this year. But you got to figure that out very, very soon. Can Jordan Poole and Draymond Green exist together? Do they need to come to Jesus moment? What? And if they can't, then hard decisions need to be made because you can't go through another season like that. We got to move on. The punch is 2022, 2023. We have to move on for the 2023-24 season. Has to be done. And if it can't be done, then Dunleavy Jr. is going to have some hard decisions to make in his first month on the job.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be done if you're going to move, or if one of them's going to move.
Or does Dunleavy Jr. have that juice? Is this a move that signals that the Lakers are now taking over the decision-making, and they're going to have most of the juice when it comes to drafting, signing free agents, roster construction? Is Mike Dunleavy Jr. hired to be the puppet of Joe Lacob and Kirk Lacob? I doubt it. I think Dunleavy Jr. is going to have a lot of juice here. How much juice? That remains to be seen. But the Warriors do a great job in not letting you know who's making all the final decisions. It's more of a group thing.
Right.
So not one individual gets to blame. Now, people will speculate and blame Joe Lacob or Bob Myers or Steve Kerr, but it's actually smart when you think about it. We're always guessing, just like with the 49ers. We think Kyle Shanahan's making the final decision-making, but then you hear, well, he was talked out of Mac Jones.
Right.
He was talked out of Trey.
And we will never really know.
We will never really know.
Yeah.
Which is actually smart on these organizations to not pinpoint one guy and say, okay, it's all on him.
Right.
It's a group decision.
Well, what happens is, and this is how it should be, the positive stuff you find out about. You finding out about Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the Jordan Poole situation, wanting to draft him. When it's a positive, it comes out, hey, I want him to get his flowers.
Right.
When it's a negative, hey, we wear it as a team. And that's why the Warriors are an A1 organization. The other part of that is this. When Steve Kerr was on Draymond's podcast talking about, Miami Heat, everybody fell in line. They don't care if they didn't play. Here's the difference, though. If we're being honest, expectations are different depending on how you got into the league. And it shouldn't be like that, but that's the reality.
Right.
The mentality of a lottery pick is going to be different of that of an undrafted two-way player. That's just the truth. Now, you can work towards, hey, I don't really care about that. You got to figure it out. Or the other side of that, if you're Mike Dunleavy Jr., is, do we really want to have these kids and have them ride pine when they still have value? So that's ultimately the question, too, because Steve Kerr is telling you, I don't want guys that are going to pout, and I'm not going to reward the pouting. But the other part of that is you also need players, right? And an 82-game season, Draymond can't turn it on for 82 games.
Right.
Steph Curry can't turn it on for 82
Right.
games. Klay Thompson can't turn it on for 82 games.
Mm-hmm.
You need guys that are going to be able to hold the ship, and you can't just call on them. And I understand that you have to be an adult and you have to be a professional, but there's also a part of this where I get that, but also now you're starting to play with my career.
Right. Yep.
And I don't want that either. So I'm torn on it.
Yep.
But these are decisions that Mike Dunleavy is going to have to make.
We also have some breaking news here at the NBA. Michael Jordan, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, Michael Jordan is finalizing a sale of the Charlotte Hornets, ending his 13-year run as majority owner. Michael Jordan moving on from the Charlotte Hornets. Not a great run for Michael Jordan, the owner.
Money time! Money time!
He's going to get paid.
He's gonna get paid.
He's going to get paid.
Well, he was going to stay, I believe, if they got the first pick. That's
Right.
what I had heard. Or maybe
Victor
even the second.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, and maybe refresh that.
The way you were setting that up, Monte, I was like, Mike Dunleavy Jr., you son of a gun. You're getting MJ out of retirement? Let's go.
Breaking news. Steve Kerr, back on May 21st, it told Tim Kawakabe that he and Warriors executive Mike Dunleavy Jr. talk pretty frequently, and that Dunleavy and President of Basketball Operations Bob Myers are best friends. Dunleavy is viewed as a logical candidate for a promotion if Bob Myers doesn't remain to go to state. Kerr said this about Dunleavy. I like to get his thoughts. He had a long playing career. He's been in the NBA his entire life, basically, with his dad being a coach and GM and player. So Mike's got a great feel for the league, great perspective, and he's someone I really trust. That's what Kerr said back on May 21st. And the tea leaves. Start reading through the tea leaves. Mike Dunleavy Jr., hell, he joined us on a pregame show for a couple segments. Mm-hmm. It was almost like they were showcasing Mike Dunleavy Jr., bringing him to set, having him on the airwaves. You know, last year during the draft, introductory draft press conference, it was him holding up the jerseys with the rookies, not Bob Myers. So he's had a rapid rise through the organization, and they like his work. They like his work as a scout. As Steve Kerr said, he has a feel for the league. He's been around the NBA for a long, long time. Anybody irate over Mike Dunleavy Jr.? Anybody happy and pleased with this hire? Is this a smart hire by the Lakers? Dub Nation, where you at? 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. I think people are just, maybe they're in wait-and-see mode with Mike Dunleavy Jr., right?
Yeah.
What is the first move he's going to make? Who's he going to draft? Mm-hmm. Who's he going to sign? Who's he going to trade? He's going to keep the core together. How much juice will he have? I guess it's always a wait-and-see approach with the GM, right? Because when Bob Myers got hired, we really knew nothing about him.
Right. And I'm looking here at some of these draft picks, and obviously we know, like we just talked about, it's not all one person. But if you came in 2018, right, you get 2019, you get the Eric Pascals of the world. Did you have a hand in that?
Yeah.
Did you have a hand in Alan Smailagic?
Yeah. Well,
Did you have? We know he had
I heard
a hand
that was
in,
a Lakeland special.
We've all heard that one. Jordan Poole, okay, we heard about it. But did you have a hand in Nico Mannion and Justinian Jessup? Now, as a GM, you're doing much more than just drafting, but this is the first move that he's going to be able to make. So we don't know. We don't know how much of an influence he had on these picks, and we don't know how they feel moving forward. But I do know this. The streets are talking. They're calling them Dunkirk, by the way. Kirk Lacob and Dunleavy. And it feels like they are in get the core number 5 mode.
Right.
Which to me lends itself to, and I love all the Kuminga videos, and he's cooking, and he's in his bag in New York or wherever he's playing. But that lends itself to, we're going to have to move you, young fella. We're going to have to move you. It's the cleanest, out of all the moves that there could be blowback for, even if Kuminga does become that guy, depending on what you get back, it's the cleanest move to me.
Right. I'm with you there. I'm with you. How are we feeling about Dunleavy Jr.? He was hated as a player here. Hated. People couldn't wait for him to leave town. And now he's one of the most powerful figures in this organization.
Yeah.
How ironic is this?
Right.
I mean, it's so wild to me. He literally was hated in a Warriors uniform. Lack of emotion, that it factor. People dogged him. Oh, my gosh, if it was the social media era, I feel bad for Mike Dunleavy Jr. But here he is back in 2023. as your GM of the Golden State Warriors. Now, he could erase a lot of that stuff that he, the player days by being a great GM, by making some bold moves. Boy, what is that first move he's going to make? I can't wait. Monday's the presser for Mike Dunleavy Jr.